Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Bullet Basics. Today we don't have anything necessarily exciting, but we do have a very useful video, and that is we're just going to compare generally side by side the sizes of these two pistols, and then we're going to pull out the caliper here and do a little bit more of a precise measurement. It's still not going to be down to the thousandth of an inch or anything like that, but we're going to get kind of a measurement of several different dimensions of each of the guns, as well as we're going to compare it here to the M&P9, the full-size M&P9. So it will be very useful for those of you looking kind of to see what the dimensions are and how they stack up against each other. We do not have time for Norm today, so we're just going to skip right past him. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and we will get to it. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got the Glock 44 as well as the Taurus TX22. Both actually have come out recently. They haven't been out in the industry very long, and so it's kind of a useful comparison to have. As you can see, just kind of glancing at them, I guess we'll take the overall aesthetic first. They're both very large guns as far as 22s are concerned, especially if you compare it to smaller ones like the SR22 from Ruger or the M&P 22. They're bigger. These are much more like full-size pistols, and so that's an interesting thing that they've done. I prefer that kind of thing, so if you're like me, you'd prefer these to be bigger. Okay, so we'll put the Glock in front. We'll try to do it just kind of as exact as we can. They're fairly similar in size. I mean, if we're to take the Taurus seems to be slightly taller here in the slide, just slightly. But as far as the length is concerned, I mean, they're virtually the same length. And the height, if we do that, the Glock is shorter by, half an inch or so. And so we will measure that, but that's just so you can see. One of the things that I did notice, though, is look at the trigger guards. They are virtually identical in just how far they stick out from the back of the grip, from the back of the grip here to the front of the trigger guard, and the triggers rest in virtually the same place too. So if we're looking at the width of these guns, from this angle, the Taurus seems like a much bigger gun, and it is. It really just is a bigger gun, but that kind of gives us an idea of how much bigger. The grip's just longer and bigger. And it is slightly wider, I think. So we'll measure that just to make sure. But so that gives you an idea for that. Okay, so let's measure along the top here. Just do a quick little visual. Virtually the same thing, nothing special there. Okay, so let's pull out the caliper and just do a couple of quick measurements. And as you can see, we're on our trusty carpet here. We are in the middle of building a house, and so if you've seen our videos recently, they have been all over the place in different rooms and different areas. That's just going to continue to happen until our house is done. We are currently at a different place. So we sold our old house, and we are currently staying elsewhere. Okay, so we've got 2.2, roughly 2.2 and a half inches across the bottom of the grip, kind of the bulgy area, or 2.3, I guess, if you get way out here. And then if you come down to the thinner part, a little higher, it's 2 inches, almost 2.1. If we're going to go to from the back of the grip to the front, kind of the middle of the trigger, it's about 2.8 inches. Okay, so let's take a quick measurement here. So 2.1, 2.2 here at really the fattest part, and then it comes back in. If we're going to go straight backward, it's 1.9. The finger bulge here, 2.1. Okay, so let's go here, and then let's do from the back of the trigger guard to the kind of the middle of the trigger here as well, and that's 2.8. So they're fairly similar on most of those measurements. Okay, now let's do the heights of each of these guns at their highest, their tallest, and I would say this is probably the tallest, but yep. So 5.4, 5 inches versus 4.9 it's looking like. Trying to get a better measurement here. Yep, so 4.9 inches, so it's definitely a shorter gun, as I mentioned, and you can even see that as you're just looking at them. It looks like a shorter gun. Another thing to mention, though, as you're looking at the differences between the two, the grip angle is obviously more canted with the Glock, as we all know, than the Taurus, which is much more, it's just a much straighter angle, much more right angle than the Glock, which is a lot more canted. Okay, so let's get to the top. Let's look at the width of the frame here on the Glock. and kind of the fattest part of the frame is just basically an inch. I mean, yeah, 1.04. If we're going at the fattest part, because the Glock does, as you can see, have the slide stop on both sides, it's 1.3 inches. So that's really just the fattest part. It's not very fat. If we're going to compare that to now the Taurus, the slide, let's see if we can, don't want to scratch the slide, 0.93, so it's very thin, but again, you've got the safety here and the safety on both sides, and so it's 1.2 inches at the fattest part of the Taurus. So pretty thin gun compared, or let's make sure that it's not fatter here in the grip. 1.24. So it's really fairly similar between the two. And let's look at the Glock grip width. 1.18. So it's a thinner grip, which it definitely looks like that if you compare the two. This looks like a slightly fatter grip. Let's take a quick look at the magazines and compare those. Oh, what is this? Norm. Well, there you go. You have it. Norm would not be silenced. And so we have this. Norm. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, what else we got here? And hit the notifications. So subscribe and hit the notifications. Thanks, Norm. We always appreciate it. Okay, so we're not going to do any measurements on these, but as you can see, we will put them side by side. The Glock magazine is much shorter. It seems fatter there, but you got a very similar style with these tabs here that you can pull down and help yourself load. Pretty cool. As I said, we're going to compare it to the full-size M&P just to give some sort of reference point. We're not going to do any measurements with it, but we will kind of hold it up like I did before. If we hold up the back of the grip, the M&P is a slightly longer gun. The triggers hit about the exact same point, and as you can see, the grip is much longer down here. It's gonna match with the TX22 probably a lot closer. As you can see there, I mean, they look pretty similar, with the exception that the M&P is much longer on the bottom. Oops, we're hitting the camera here. I'm gonna put these sideways. And you can see the difference in length here a lot more on this upper side. Okay, so let's now compare it to the TX22, the Taurus TX22. So we'll go on the back first this time. So they're almost the same size, even the Taurus is slightly taller. We have to put this one in the back, actually no. Okay, but the M&P is definitely a longer gun, and in the grips it's virtually the same. And just as in the Glock 44, the trigger guards are virtually the same size, and the triggers hit the same spot. So very interesting. So if you're comparing this to any gun, it should be another full-size gun like the M&P9. Same with the Glock. Well, I should say the Glock 44 is very comparable, almost identical to the Glock 19. And so I think that was intentional to make them the same size, which is very cool and very useful. So as I said, this wasn't going to be a very exciting video, but a very useful video for those of you looking to compare these two guns and just to see the sizes of each one. If you do like videos like this, like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell us what you think of each of these pistols. If you have experiences, if good or bad. We love to hear when people are having bad experiences with guns so we can relay them to others, as well as good experiences. Don't forget about our website. You can go on there and get kind of our recommendations. It does have affiliate links, so if you don't want to click on the affiliate links, feel free to go right around it after you've looked at the information. But for those of you that do want to support us, that's the best way to support us. Click on the affiliate links and follow them to the products that we recommend. We've got lots of stuff on there, and there's more coming out all the time. And so if you go on there and there isn't anything, just come back. As Norm reminded you, like, subscribe. He didn't say like. He said subscribe, hit notifications, but like as well. Show the YouTube algorithm that this is useful content for you guys and that you enjoy it. And we will see you in the next video.